The last of the design exams, that is Nift entrance exam, has been completed yesterday. For discussing about that particular question paper and the experiences of the students, we have come up with another live here today. So in this live, we have two of our champions have joined, Gopika and Diya. Welcome to both of you.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Thank
So,
you,
okay. So to everyone who's been watching or everyone who will be joining in, please do know that we would also love to hear about your experiences also. So you can use the live chat box in the YouTube, and you can let us know how your exam went, the Nift exam. I think there are lots of things that's happened, a lot of unexpected things, a lot of expected things also that has happened. So in this particular video, we'll be dealing with them one by one. Okay. So I will start with Gopika. Gopika, how was the overall experience, Nift 2023? How would you rate it?
Nift 20. This is the first time I'm writing Nift, and the experience was quite good. Yeah, that's it. The exam was different from what I expected, but it went quite good for me.
Okay, that's nice to hear. That's satisfying to hear, to be frank. Diya, how was it for you? So how was your experience?
Sir, this is my second time writing the exam, so it was different from last time. The questions and all weightage for each subject was different. Questions were more intensive, so it was different. But it was better than last time for me. So yeah, it was good.
I think we'll have a lot to hear from Diya also. Okay, great. So Gopika, I think you're somebody who has written UCED and NID also, right?
Yes.
How would you rate the overall setup of Nift exam?
For me, UCED was the best, and then comes NID and then Nift, because there were a lot of system problems in Nift, and the checking was also not very strict. And for drawing, they told us that they'll give us enough space for drawing,
Okay.
but the table that they provided was very congested.
Okay. Okay. Diya, how was it? How was it comparing to the other exams, the overall arrangement, setup, and things like that?
In terms of setup, I'll say UCD was first, then Nift, then NID, because NID people were actually really absent-minded during the exam and before also. They didn't really check for anything. Nift was also like that, but then the invigilators were okay. They were reminding us of the time and all, like 1 hour left and all. So that was okay. But then I personally didn't face any technical problems, but my friends, they had their computer turned off and all. So that could have been improved. And then again, about the space, some students couldn't take some students didn't take or couldn't take, I don't know. I took my board, but then the space was really cramped up and we couldn't really work. I worked properly because of my board, but then the others, I don't know. We have a computer in front of us, so it was kind of contested.
So probably the desk was already occupied by the desktop that you already had, and there was a lot of.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. We hope at least from the next time onwards, all of that would be clear. Let's move on to the paper. Let's talk about the first session. That is the GAT. We'll start with Gopika. So the general aptitude test, how was it? How was the topics for you?
GAT, arithmetic. There was a lot of arithmetic questions which I did not expect. Sorry. And then GK was easy. Logical reasoning, all were easy. That's it. Arithmetic was the only problem for me. And time. It took a lot of time. I had to leave a few questions, many questions.
I think in your case, you were also talking about the system issues that were there, right? The desktop had some issues. Can you just take us through what happened, what went wrong?
So basically, many kids had a problem. That is, after they wrote the first question, they could not go to the second question. So what they did is they shut down those systems and took them to another classroom and gave them new systems. But for me, my question, I reached till 50th question. It was smooth till the 50th question, but then I couldn't go to the 51st question. The system had some kind of problem and I had to wait for like 5 to 10 minutes when they had to fix it up, and then that's it. After that, I lost 10 minutes, but yeah, then it was fine.
It was not compensated. That 5 to 10 minutes that you lost was not compensated?
No, because the timers went on and they couldn't do anything about it.
Oh, that's bad. Okay. Okay. And overall, I think a lot of students are saying that GAT was a little bit more tougher. How was it for you compared to CAT?
GAT was tougher than CAT. There was no time. For CAT, we had plenty of time. For drawing, we had plenty of time. But for this GAT, it was less.
And you're talking about arithmetic questions being a bit difficult. So there were a lot of students who told about the English section also. So how was it for you, English? How was it? Was it easy?
I attended a lot of mock exams. So
Okay.
the English part was similar to the mock exam part. So it was fine for me.
Okay, let's move to Dia. Dia, how was the GAT part for you?
The GAT part, it was easier than last year for me. I could attempt more questions because again, like Gopika said, we had a lot of mock tests and the questions were similar. Topics were covered. Okay, it was okay for me. The arithmetic part, it was tougher than last year, tougher than expected, but questions were okay for me. I could do the questions, but there were more number of questions. So, and then I couldn't say out of syllabus, but then we hadn't really prepared for coordinate geometry. We had a question from coordinate geometry. It was 10 questions, so we didn't really prepare for that. So I lost that question. Yeah, those questions were tough. Some I left. My most unattempted questions were from arithmetic part because it was tougher.
Okay,
And then yeah. And then
okay.
English was comprehension was easy for me. I had a lot of practice, so it was easy. The synonym and antonyms, those words, that is always tough for me. So that also the another unattempted question. Other part was easy. GK, general questions, the history. There were questions from history, science, and all 10th level questions. Current affairs was also 2 questions only. Yeah, comparatively low than we expected.
Okay. So to everyone who's watching this particular live, please do let us know in the live chat box what are your opinions on the exam that you have written. I think Gavri has a comment. Rough work paper wasn't provided until we requested. Okay, that's weird. With a lot of arithmetic questions, I think rough work paper was something that was expected. Okay. Now, Gopika, to you, if I say that you get a chance to prepare the GAT for the GAT exam again, what would be that 1 or 2 things that you would focus so that students who are watching for the next year would have something to Gopika, can you please unmute? Yeah.
Yes, I would focus more on arithmetic because that was a lot of, there were many questions and it was also time consuming. I did not expect that. So obviously it's going to be arithmetic.
Okay, that's short, crisp, and to the point. Dia, what's your advice?
I'll say I didn't really prepare for the questions I didn't get during mock test. For example, I said coordinate there for one mock test and I was like, it won't come. And I was really rebellious about that. So I didn't prepare and then came. So I should learn what I don't know. So that and from English, prepare more for antonyms and synonyms because I left a lot from that part because I didn't want any negative marking. So that.
Okay, so the Nift part and also the questions that are going wrong in your mocks, these are the areas that you should be focusing on. Great. Okay, let's move on to the probably the easiest part that almost everyone had, CAT. We would start with Gopika. Gopika, how was the CAT part for you?
The CAT was very easy, easier than I expected. And but I felt like there wasn't a question where I could show my full potential. There wasn't any question where I had to sit and think and draw a lot. Yeah, there were questions to think, but not like sit and draw for a long time. All the boxes they provided were quite small, so we had to like draw small things. So yeah, we had a
Okay.
lot of time left though.
So shortage of time in GAT and too much of time in CAT. Okay.
Yes.
Probably I heard a lot of parents also saying that you should probably combine these two exams and make it into a smaller 3-hour exam. Okay.
Yes.
Can you take us through the questions? Like what were the questions that had come up for CAT?
The first question was of 40 marks, and they provided a few lines. They provided us a few lines and asked us to make an automobile or a piece of utility,
Okay.
or I don't remember exactly what it was, but I drew an automobile.
Okay.
Yeah, and then for the second question,
A
it
weighing
was,
machine was another option in that.
yes,
Utility
Weighing
product.
scale.
weighing machine. Yes. Yeah, so we could draw any one of these three using those lines. For the second question was of 30 marks.
Let me rephrase. There were a set of lines that were given, and you were asked to draw any one of these using those lines: a weighing machine, or a utility product, or an automobile. Correct?
Yes.
40 marks. Okay. Moving on.
Second question was storyboard, and it was of 30 marks. They asked us to create a storyboard with the plot set of COVID time. And then the three options were Vikram and Betal, Akbar and Birbal, and Tenali Ram.
Okay.
That was quite a creative question for me.
Okay. You could use colors in these questions. What was the instruction on colors?
The first and the third question was we could use colors, but for the second question, they mentioned only black and white.
Okay.
Yes. And the third question was also of 30 marks, and they gave us a few shapes. It's similar to the first question. They gave us a few shapes and asked us to create a product out of it. And they gave us a few products. I drew a wind chime.
So you could either draw a wind chime or a letterbox or a personal computer, correct?
Yes.
That was also for 30 marks.
30 marks.
Okay, great. Okay, so coming to Diya, how did your CAT part go? You're also somebody who had written previously also. So how was your experience?
My CAT part, it was easier than expected actually. We were prepared for the worst and it was easier than expected. Comic strip wasn't my strong point, but I did it. But then I felt like the last and first question, they were similar, really similar. They could have included some variety. And my strong parts were poster and all, like fashion designing and stuff. So I couldn't really show my full potential. We had been instructed to present it really well, and the space provided was really compact. So it was a small space, but there was a plus point. We should only color a small part, so it took only some time. During mock test, I took a lot of time to color in. This was easier than mock test.
Okay, any questions in the CAT part that asked you to also write a description or anything related to writing?
Yeah, all the questions had a space for description. The last question, there was an instruction to write 70 words paragraph about it. A story and first question, storyboard and first question, only a small part to be written. Yeah, I think we should do good in that also, because the write-up also is really important.
When you're talking about the last question, that is 70 words write-up, which question was that? Was it comic strip or was it using the lines?
Using the shapes, the wind chime and all, the
okay.
letterbox. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so compared to the previous year, Diya, how would you say, like, was it completely different, GAT and CAT, the whole overall experience, Nift 2022? I think if you had written previous year, it was something that happened in it was a home-based test, correct?
Yeah, online mode. So
Yeah.
the software, you can access one portal is there. That was similar. The GAT exam part was similar to last year, same software, but then in last year it was really stressful, cramped up in a room with two cameras. It was really stressful, and I couldn't really attempt properly. And I wasn't really prepared for last year because I was preparing it along with my 12th. So I didn't prepare well. This year I had given my best and I did good. And the questions were different and tougher, but I could do better than last year. So I'm proud of that.
Gopika, any particular suggestions to Nift authorities who are conducting the exam?
It's only about the system problems. If that was made better, it would have been a lot better. And the drawing space. It was congested. I could not draw. And then,
it was congested.
Yes,
okay.
We did request them if we could take our drawing board with us, and they did not allow us.
Okay, that's quite interesting. I'd also like to know from the other participants who've written the exam in the YouTube live also, like if everyone was permitted to take the drawing board or not. Okay. Dia, final comments, any suggestions to the Nift authorities for improving?
I'll say bring more variety to the CAT part questions, because like I said, first and last question, they were really similar. The difference was lines were given in the first question and shapes were given in the second question. But like we couldn't bring out our potential, and space was small. I couldn't draw in that space, so a bigger space and variety in questions. Also, if they release some kind of sample paper or something like CBSE does, we could expect some what to expect topics in these coordinate geometry. I haven't seen coordinate geometry in the previous year question, so I like to say that.
Okay. So I think that was it for everyone who has been watching. Thanks a lot for joining. The brief idea about both these sessions have been given by two of our champions. Thanks a lot, Dia and Gopika. Thanks a lot for joining. We understand you might have had some stressful traveling right after the exam. The test centers were also less, right? So thanks a lot. Thanks a lot for joining, and also to the host. To everyone who is watching the recorded, if there are any comments or suggestions, please let us know after this particular live. Okay, which part of Nift 2023 was easier? There were 22 votes. Okay, obviously 72% of them are saying that CAT was easier. So I think definitely like what Gopika and Dia is saying, CAT must be a bit more challenging probably. Okay. So thank you everyone for joining in. And special thanks to the host and also Gopika and Dia. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, sir, for conducting.